Good afternoon. It is Barbara, the East Coast Dragon Lady, coming to you unexpectedly. I know I often say, oh, I'll jump on if I have something to talk about, but I actually do. And thank you to to Cynthia, who was watching my YouTube video yesterday and asked a really important question, because as we often do, we assume everybody knows what we're talking about. And of course they don't. So thank you for asking the question. But she asked, what is the meaning of a heart opening? Heart, yeah, which is what I talked about how this is, as we move into the fire horse, a lot more people are going to waken up. And I can and I've told this story a few times, but I will tell it again. But I also thought I'd go to AI, because, what better than to ask AI as well, which actually explains it rather nicely. And I will put a post up on my Facebook page. But for those of you that have see me on YouTube, this is going to go up about, I asked what is the meaning of a spiritual awakening of the heart. And I shared yesterday about how I had physical symptoms, which I'm now realizing for me is what happens. Sometimes I get the physical symptoms as things are shifting, and I think a lot more people do. But this is what AI, I'll give it to you briefly. It says a spiritual awakening of the heart means shifting from a head-centered, so from the brain, to the heart. So shifting from head-centered, ego-driven to a light-driven life, to one rooted in feeling, intuition, and unconditional love, where emotional blockages dissolve, revealing a deep connection to all beings and a profound sense of wholeness, moving from simple thinking about truth to feeling it as the essence of reality. It's about healing trauma and letting go of attachments and experience life from a place of open-hearted presence, leading to greater compassion, empathy, and genuine aliveness. So I think I've certainly embodied that. But for me, so often those of us that have trauma response, and remember, a trauma response isn't always about what's happened to you in this lifetime. We often bring trauma from past lives into this current lifetime to heal, or to heal the karma. But a lot of us have, I would probably say most, have experienced trauma, which then what I did, and it took me a long time to realize this, as my trauma response was to literally guard my heart. And that's how we shut down systems. So I consciously, unconsciously said, that's it, I've had enough. When we get to that point, I am going to protect myself. And I remember thinking, I'm protecting myself, long before I was really spiritually aware, because I was in survival mode as well. So I literally built, and most of us, any of us that do healing work, you see this in people that have shut down our systems. We close down our heart, then a lot of other systems close down. So, I mean, I put chains, I put all sorts of things around my heart and said, no. I wasn't aware of that, just that there was this like heaviness on my chest. And people would often say, oh, you talk so well about, how you dealt with this situation, because there was quite a few, because I was completely unemotional, shut down. And interestingly, professionals don't always see that. They just thought, wow, I'm coping. So I thought, oh, I'm doing well, I'm coping. So what happened a few years ago, and again, it was probably about 3 years ago, I was actually doing some work with my friend, Dr. Lisa Thompson, and we were I was learning about the galactics, the galactic races, and each week we would go on a journey with them. And this happened in Inner Earth for me. So as she was talking about what the process was going to be, my dragons, and I was new-ish to dragons, these two big red dragons, so fire dragons, appeared, and they literally pulled me out of my seat, and they just they took me very, very high up, and I saw a portal. It was a huge portal. It was like a shimmering hole. I remember looking down, and we were in the Himalayas. I think I have past memories of certainly Tibet. Probably I was a Tibetan monk. But I looked down and I was literally over Tibet, and there was this huge portal, and they took me to this portal, and not only did they drop me in it, but they came with me, and we were literally spiraling down. Like literally, it was fun. It was like going down a helter skelter. And as I came out, so it was like being launched into Inner Earth. It was just beautiful. If you've heard me tell this story before, I've gone into detail about just I mean, it's breathtakingly beautiful. I was very high up, like I was on the top of a mountain. It felt like I was the top of a flat mountain, and I was looking down on moss growing, and as far as I could see, there was amethyst walls, water cascading down. Just, I mean, it was breathtakingly beautiful, and a lot of people don't have the privilege of seeing that, because when people get to Inner Earth, they often don't want to return. I also have a connection with Inner Earth people, which are the Agarthians. It feels very much like one of my lifetimes. I lived there. I understood that. But in the distance, there was this rumbling. And when I say rumbling, like literally earth shaking, which I was like, is there sort of an earthquake? And as I looked in the distance, there was just this vivid blur of color coming really fast. You know, when you sort of do, it was just this whoosh. So it was definitely a thunder dragons, and they were coming really, really fast. And they literally stopped this close to my face, probably 6 or 7. Huge, huge. And that what they asked of me, they said, we want you to hold our faces and look into our eyes. At each one of us, we want you to do that. And I didn't question why. It felt like the right thing to do. And as I connected, and I've got full body chills when I say this, and I often cry, as I looked into their eyes, I had this surge which hit my heart. And it was probably the most beautiful, unconditional love that I've ever felt. And as it hit my heart, it felt like my heart exploded. And each one of them did that, and they have beautiful eyes. They often have sometimes the same color that they are. These were very vibrant dragons, but the depth of their eyes was what hit my heart. And when I asked what's happening, because I was not in control of it, they said, the windows and doors of your heart have blown open, and now you can move forward. I know there was probably other things they told me, but it was like I needed that. It felt to me like I had never experienced that level of unconditional love. And when I did, the chains, the walls, all of that just exploded. And it literally burst like a flower, like some say it's often like a lotus opening. This was an explosion. And they said, now you can connect. So it took me out of my head into my heart. And from then on, like this said, I'm also a Pisces, so I do tend to not think with my head, but with my heart. But after that, all I can do is literally talk from my heart, live there, which also enabled me, as I have posted, for 25 years, I lived with the pain of a lot of trauma, that I held in, which caused pain in my body. And when, after this happened, I mean, I make it sound like it happened and everything was fine. That wasn't true. But that was the pinnacle of my healing, was to burst open my heart. And I think for so many of us, we, if we're lucky enough in this lifetime to experience it, it wasn't for me. I'm understanding now, because this is my one and only time on this planet. I came from the Pleiades, this previous incarnation. This was my one and only earthly incarnation. And it wasn't for, that's what I'm now understanding. It wasn't for, I needed to understand what it was to experience unconditional love. It didn't mean that I had to be in a relationship. I also have two wonderful children that I would never have had if I hadn't have adopted. So I adopted my older son, and then I conceived my younger son, and it was because of, again, unconditional love. So I'm guessing that was probably a theme that I chose for myself, was unconditional love. I wanted to know what it felt like, but it has taken me 25 years, probably going on to 26 now, of doing work and then stopping and doing some more work. That didn't, I mean, every time I thought I'd forgiven, I hadn't really. And it wasn't until I truly understood what it was doing to me could I connect that and let it go. I had two people in my life that I needed to understand, and that was my mother and my ex-husband, who were actually very similar, very narcissistic. It was all about them, not about other people. I chose them. My mum, since I've talked to her, said, you chose me to learn those lessons. That was the role she played. She talked about that it was a role. It wasn't like who she is, because remember, we choose these bodies, and we play a part, sometimes in other people's lives, sometimes people play them in ours. But for me, I chose her and my father for particular lessons. So once I understood that, it was easy. And also I've shared, and I will probably again talk about how I tried writing her letters and I couldn't. I just couldn't get the words out. They weren't right. And then my friend Casca suggested that I tried bringing her energy into my energy and allowing her to write, which is what I did. And I got 5 pages straight off. I was a little bit cautious about inviting her in because I was still thinking she was the mom that I remember, and it would have been like she might come and not want to leave. But after 5 pages, and the last comment, which will stick with me, was she said, I put a scar on your heart and I'm taking it back as I leave. And as she was leaving, she said, and your ex-husband, she used his name, he needs to take that scar as well. There are 2 scars on your heart. He needs to take the other one. Haven't got there yet. It's on my list. But I feel I needed to heal that with my mother. So for most of us here on earth, we came with an agenda, and we probably came with, if not already closed down, we chose to do that. Because whatever happens to us has been our choice, believe it or not. I know some of you are going to go, no, I didn't choose this. No, but you chose the lesson. And what we have, as I pointed out the other day, be careful what you wish for and be more specific, because I wished for more work. I wasn't specific about which work I was talking about, and my daytime work has increased, which is a good thing. But that was, I wasn't specific enough. And they're saying, yeah, whoops, bad you. Not bad in that sense, but yeah, next time, specific. Because remember, they're sitting here, my dragons are sitting here, my guides are sitting here, and they're like, just tell us and we'll help. But if we're not specific, they will do literally what we ask, which was I asked for more work, and that's what I got. So I think that was what I wanted to share with you. Um, it isn't an easy road. Though if male and females have had trauma, um, as I said, we may have brought it with us. If you follow Lara Starr or you've heard any of her podcasts, she talks about how a lot of us have trauma from the Orion Wars, which were millions and millions of years ago because of what happened to us during those wars. So we have layers and layers. And then when we choose to come to Earth, because none of us are from here, we only come here to have experiences, right? So we've all got our connections from where we came from, um, which I just find fascinating. But I've always said I'm not from here. And as I'm learning and hearing more each day, it makes so much sense. It's like, oh, I knew that. Oh, I knew that. But remember, I've been here for 72 years. So birthday's coming up. Um, and truly it has taken me this time. And, have I got regret? Of course, I think, wish I knew all of this. There's so many things that I wish I'd have known so I didn't have to go through them. But we need to go through them. So don't think that, why me? Ask, why is this happening? When my kids were younger, I often used to say, oh, I wonder why blah blah is happening. And I guess they got tired of me saying that. And my older son used to say, Mum, shit happens. So yeah, shit happens. But there's a lesson. Like everything that happens to us are lessons, because that's what we're here for, right? Some of us, I've learned that I just came here to be me. But I also decided, obviously, on my few times that I came for short periods of time, to see what was it I wanted to know, because it's all about us learning from being in a human body. I then went back with a checklist. That's what it feels like me. Probably had a laundry list and said, I want to feel this, I want to feel this, I want to feel this, I wonder what this is like, wonder what this is like. But we're fascinating beings, and we hold so much in our bodies that we need to let go. So for your heart to open fully, it's about coming out of your head, like not thinking with your head, think with your heart. And once you can make that, because remember, it's all chakras as well. So it's just really opening your heart, doing breathing, breathe through it. Grounding is the best way to go, because the more grounded you are, and make sure that your chakras are also grounded in Mother Gaia, you're going to clear and align. And that's all you have to ask every day, is to clear your chakras and make sure they're aligned. That's what I do. Literally bring light in and align your chakras. Ask for your heart to open if you don't feel that it's open. Whatever the lessons are will come to you. And what I've learned is about patience. And you probably don't want to hear that, because patience is one of those things that all of us struggle with. For the most part, I am very patient. I get impatient at times because things aren't happening fast enough. But as I've looked back, I've realized I had to go through things before I could have that experience. So again, as I posted on Facebook yesterday, and I say all the time, I'm here to help you. If you think it's something that you need help with, or you want to talk through more of your trauma, or not, you don't have to talk through your trauma. That's scrap that. They're going, no, we don't have to talk about our trauma. We just have to acknowledge that we have trauma, and all of us have trauma. But has it affected your heart? And has it affected your outlook on life? I just responded to somebody. There's just been a study or something. Somebody posted about being a single woman isn't about, like, we're stronger women that are single. And what I said to the person was, it is often other people's perception of, oh, you're on your own. And it's like, no, that's your perception. It's a choice, because once we have cleared all of that, I know it was about how everybody works from trauma, so we trauma bond. And a lot of times when people say, oh, I have this connection, it's trauma bonding. So those of us that have cleared all of that are not, we can't find the people to connect to because we're not going to trauma bond anymore, if that makes sense. I did post it on my Facebook page, which then makes me realize that when people look and think that it's sad that you're on your own, no, it isn't. We're strong women. And I share, people that know me, I often say I don't have to tell anybody where I am, why I'm there, what time I choose to go to bed, what I eat, what I drink. I've got a queen size bed all to myself. All right, I have to share it with the cat now. But, you know, I have all of, to me, that's a luxury, that I have that choice. And that's how I embrace it. Would I like a companion? Yes, but I don't need complicated relationships anymore. Don't need that. I didn't like them anyway. But, you know, just keep things simple. So a simple life is the way to go. Just got to deal with clutter. I don't have clutter, but I have things. I think that's another layer for me, is do I really need all of this, right? Because I come from a family, and like a lot of us did, that grew up in the 50s and 60s. There wasn't a lot, and we didn't have much. And my mother was terrible at hoarding. And I've been accused of being a borderline hoarder. But now I think, what are my kids are going to go, why did she keep this, right? So I've got a storage unit that I've told them, they'll probably go, why has she got all this shit? I need to address that as well. But, you know, at least I'm aware of it. It's not like my mum. She'd say, oh, you can clear it all when I'm not here. So I hope that's helped anybody that wondered, what is this heart opening? It's not anything mysterious. Just be aware of it. And you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on my website, which is www.eastcoastdragonlady.com, or you can email me at eastcoastdragonlady@gmail.com. And you can put YouTube, whatever you want in there. You can also connect through my website to me. I do offer a 45-minute clarity call, if that will help as well. So I hope your Monday is going well. We had quite a bit of snow overnight. The ploughs were out about 1 o'clock this morning till about 4, so wasn't too happy about that because they're loud. But it was when I went out earlier, and I don't know if you've noticed, but you can't really see here, but I have my new glasses, so now I can see better because I needed a change in my prescription. But I've got my purple glasses, which is what I wanted. So have a good week, and I'll be back soon.